Hello and welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Tuesday, December 5th, 2017.
Read our disclaimer quickly. Trading stocks is a high level of risk, and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice. Not making any recommendations, always for your further homework.
Good morning, Sue here with video number 303 in our regular Tuesday, Thursday morning video series. I hope you had a great weekend. We certainly had an interesting day in the markets yesterday, so with that, let's get into our video and take a look at what's going on. If you're a regular viewer, then you well know I always start these videos off with a look at the Russell Index, and for that I use the IWM, which is the ETF that represents the Russell 2000, and I like to step back and take a look at it on the bigger time frame, the 5-year monthly. So we're looking at the 5-year monthly chart of the Russell. This blue line down here is long-term support and resistance. We're kind of ignoring it for now. And we've really been focusing on this wedge pattern that's taking place up here on the Russell. This black diagonal line is our short-term support resistance. The orange is more medium term. And I've got a smaller trend line drawn in here that we'll see more clearly when I switch to the smaller time frame. But for now, it's really all about this diagonal line up here and how it corralled and held price in on the Russell from the beginning of the year. It really didn't let price out of this range until we hit the candle for the month of September, which was bullish, pushing us up and through. October was undecided. November had a long wick and a bullish look orientation to it, and here we are so far for the month of December. So I'm going to move it away from the monthly to the 2-year weekly so we can better see. So here is that same black diagonal line, the same orange line, and as you can see, price is up and over this area that is now support. And let's go take a look on the daily and see what we see here. So I'm going to move it away from the 2-year weekly to the daily chart. So we had a bit of a wonky last couple of days. I have this line drawn in here, again to say that if the uptrend is going to resume, I would like it to stay up and over this smaller black diagonal line. I will change the color on it to purple so it's we can distinguish it from our other black line. So Friday we had price action that brought us all the way down to the black diagonal line of support. It pushed up, and then yesterday we started off strong, but it faded. So I want to watch pretty carefully today to see how the Russell trades. The futures look to be getting off to a green start, so we'll see if it can continue to show that strength or whether it fades again like it did yesterday. So keeping a close eye in this area, but with price on the Russell up and over the blue line, which is the 8-day EMA, I will be adding a new name to my watch list this morning. And so that new name I'm going to add to my watch list this morning is Johnson Controls International, ticker symbol JCI. Trades on the New York Stock Exchange. For those of you that may not be familiar with the company, I'm going to put up this little description. They are in a big diversified company, one of the bigger ones, and they are involved with security, building, fire control for residential and commercial use. You know at Chart of the Day Cafe, I am all about the fundamentals underneath my charts. I like to focus primarily on value and growth, and Johnson Controls has a really nice high value score with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 21%, a current PE of 13.56, and a dividend yield of 2.67%. So those are the kinds of numbers I like. So let's get back to the chart. Excuse me. We're looking at the 5-year monthly chart, and you can see on the 5-year monthly in an uptrend and at an area of possible support. We will see, but I like the long wick from the candle from last month that pushed through this trend line, and we are sitting at that area right now. I think it may offer some support in this area should the markets continue to show strength overall. So it's all about the overall markets showing strength, but should they continue to move higher, I think this is an interesting area for Johnson Controls. So I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 9-month weekly. So you can see these weekly candles are defending this trend line nicely. So for several weeks in a row now, we've had candles looking to get back up and over this line of support resistance, now support. Last week's candle had a little more bullishness to it. It got us up and over our trend line. And here is where we're sitting so far for this week. So I'm going to take you into this little area right here. I'm going to move it away from the weekly to the daily, and I like this little wedge pattern that's taking shape here. So I would offer you this more minor area of support, very minor, and say I'd like to see price continue to show strength up and over the 8-day, but I like the look of this chart and I would be looking for price to continue this way. It's all about the overall market though, right? So should the overall market go higher, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Johnson Controls show some strength and move off this area as well with those scores and that dividend. Along with our new watch list pick, I also like to take a look at the sector that it's in, and for that we're going to look at two ETFs. One is XLI for the industrial sector, which you can see we're looking at the 5-year monthly chart. Beautiful uptrend on the 5-year monthly and continues to show strength up here. And the second one is XHB, which is the home builder ETF. Again, on the 5-year monthly chart, it's in this uptrend and continues to show strength in this area. I also like to take a look at seasonality, and for that I go to equityclock.com, which is a site I always recommend. It's really amazing. And you can see that Johnson Controls has seasonal favor at this time of year with a strong surge in December. No guarantee that happens this year, but always nice to know. Also wanted to pick up, and we'll put these articles in my show notes, 9 must-own stocks that have paid over a century of dividends. This mentions Johnson Controls, as well as there's been some recent insider buying, which I always like to see as well. So I will include a link to this as well to show you how top insiders have been buying their stock at Johnson Controls, which is a good thing. I also like to take a look at FinViz quickly and see if I've got analyst support for my pick. It's choppy. We've had an upgrade and a downgrade, so you can decide for yourself, but I would like to see it a little more positive, but I have to say the chart, the insider buying, and the scores are going to override this for me. And so to summarize, let's go back and check the boxes for JCI. I started today's video with a look at the Russell Index, and we note that overall, the Russell is in an uptrend with price up and over the 8-day EMA on the daily and the weekly chart. We looked at the sector that JCI is in, XLI and XHB, in an uptrend on the 5-year chart. JCI in an uptrend on the 5-year chart and at an area of possible support on the daily, emphasis on possible. It's got a great value score. It's got a great growth score with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 21%, a current dividend yield of 2.67%. It already has that 3 and 8 EMA daily cross, which I look for. So it just needs to continue from this area on the daily chart. It has seasonality in its favor. We looked at analyst support. It was a little choppy on FinViz, so I don't have that checked. You can decide for yourself. It has recent insider buying, a current PE of 13.56, and there's no earnings date yet on the docket. As a reminder, these videos go out every Tuesday and Thursday morning. If you like receiving them, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the red subscribe button on my homepage. That way you get the videos as soon as they are released. I do my very best to marry up the best looking charts with the best fundamentals underneath them. With that, I'll say goodbye. Have a great next couple of days, and our next video goes out on Thursday.